Okay, people. So now I'm in War Room 1. Right? Yeah. Wait till I show you what it looks like in here. I only have to write 20 pages, people. 20 pages. Right? Quality of living has gone down the drain. Right? Seriously. I have cookbooks in here. No, I'm going to put up here, right? Because I'm moving stuff around. And I'm just browsing through them before I put them up there and get into other stuff, which I'm going to show you. And I was reading up on grapes, because I have the grapes in the front. Right? I'm talking about making grape leaves. And the last time I tried to make a little cabbage roll type with the grape leaf, I didn't like it because the grape leaf was tough. But it tells you here you have to cook it in lemon for 2 hours. So no wonder, hey, why it was tough. So anyway, reading this one. I want to keep them all. Do something with them. Came across this recipe. It's kind of cool. This one right here. I want to try it. It's crepe Suzette. It's crepes. You make the crepe, and then you make a sauce with it, with oranges. Sounds good. Icing sugar. Right. This is a freezer cookbook, which actually the next page over has a chocolate sponge pudding. So I kind of want to keep this book out and maybe try and make a little pudding for Amari. That sounds pretty good. And then they have syrup orange pudding. That's not bad. Granny mixed fruit pudding. Actually, they have a couple of puddings in here. Ice Christmas pudding. Right. I'm supposed to be making puddings for my grandson, remember? Not sitting in here getting ready to, I don't know, I'm going to show you. I don't know what I'm going to be getting into here, people. Like, seriously. So anyway, I'm going through these books and I have to put them away so I can get on with this other stuff that needs to be done. Right? Like this one here. Look at this book. Anyway. But I came across an agreement, student financial assistance agreement, dated for October of 2015. This was after Uncle John was taken. Because Shamay was, that paper is in another room. I just came across them like a couple of weeks ago, where she was going to put in an application in for $33,000 to become an RN. And that was through that private college. Right? When I get the paperwork, I'll show you. And then, before she died, she put an application in for a student loan to become an assistant, nurse's assistant. She was going to start with that, work for a while, and then go into becoming a nurse. 2 times, people, she put application in, and both times she got shortchanged. If they would never have done what they did to Uncle John, Shamay would have went to school, and she'd be alive today, people. Okay? Her priorities would have been, they were already there, people. This is why I have to be in this room. I have to. I have to write 20 pages. I was sitting over there where I normally sit with my computers. Oh, I don't know, it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. It was at night. And then all of a sudden I hear, boom! It's a rattle. And I'm like, holy shit, it was something over here, right? I'm like, I couldn't for the life of me figure out what the hell it was. So I just gave up trying to figure it out. Anyway, I came in here tonight to clear it out, right? I took out the walnuts that were drying in here. You know, I have a bin of my cookbooks, right, that I moved from Uncle John's room out, right, to make more room in there. And I've been trying to, like, piece them in someplace. And so I took the printer out from here because I don't use it anyway. And I'm going to maybe hook it up to my work computer when I transfer my work computer that's on the kitchen table into the bedroom, because my old XP is not turning on. So I have a space for it. I just need to move it. But it needs to be reformatted, though, because the hard drive is practically full. So I don't know. But besides that point, I have this bin that I have to take the books out. And I found a spot. So that's what I'm doing. And then to make room in here so I can have a chair. And, you know, because what's going to end up happening, people. But before I do that, though, I'm just going to show you. Do you see? There's my signature. You can see the date. And the accompanying application is in with the rest of the papers. I just have to go through the papers. And that binder that I showed you in War Room 2, right, of Olive Shamay, this is the kind of stuff that's going in her binder, right? The type of person that she was. And why I'm here, people. Right? I could show you what I'm looking at, and then I could go on to what I was going to say. Because this is kind of funky. It's funky, people. I shouldn't have to be doing this for a second time around. Okay, there's the Hospital Act. Oops, sorry. Hold on, let me turn the screen so I can see what you're looking at. Yeah. Hospital Act, Medicare Protection Act, Continuing Care Act would apply to Sierra, Home Community Care Policy, Home Health Services, Housing Health, Residential Care Services. What's this one? That's all power of attorney. Mental Health Act, Mental Health Regulations, Guide to Mental Health Act, the Constitution Act, Charter of Rights. I don't know what's in there. You can see, got my little cookbooks out here. Right, there's another pile. The bin is over there. So I made a spot up in there, you can see. But this is what I want to show you. Look what happened. My hook broke. That's why you want to double hook heavy things. So for one reason a hook drops out or it literally breaks, like that did. Do you see that? This thing just went straight down. That was that poof crash that I heard. Look at that. My little dinosaur didn't even fall off. But you can see it dropped. And thank the Lord it didn't go crashing through the glass. If you notice. So I have to do something about that. So by the end of the night, I'm going to make sure it's not going to tip over until I can get to it. So basically, that's, you can see there's another cookbook there. So that's what I'm kind of doing right now, is I'm sitting in here thinking, oops, sorry. As I'm sitting here thinking, why are you here and here having to do this again, people? Like, I don't even know where to begin. 20 pages. What do I say in 20 pages? Do I keep it a secret, or do I call in a jury? Some people are already not getting the information correctly, you know, in terms of any videos I've been doing, or, you know, other people have helped me to get the information out. You know, they're not getting the full information. They're getting it twisted, because what's happening here is, and this is why they do it, right? This is, I've said this before, because of Sierra's addiction and the issues around Sierra and the perpetualness around it in terms of ongoing year after year after year, right? It's very easy to confuse Shamay with Sierra when you hear the story, because people just by default settle for the worst and look for the worst in people, right? Without really even fully getting a hold of what they're casting judgment on in terms of understanding the full story. So I'm like, well, how can I bring people into the loop, right? Pretty much from the get-go, in terms of, if you're just coming into the fray and this is the first video that you've seen regarding anything that I talk about, right? You know, there's got to be, I don't know, I'm going to have to clear this off, get some paper up, and just do a little kind of a, you know, something quick. You know, that's, I don't know how to do this, people. Like, this was done when they took Uncle John, and I was still going on about them scooping out his brains, right? Because that's basically what they did, right? And, you know, just the misconduct of the court, people. Because if I file 20 pages from my experience from the first time going around this situation, right? I don't know if I can run it through their computer. In terms of, you have to use their computer on with their form. That's the way they like it. Unless, of course, you're willing to pay for it. If you're willing to pay for it, you can put 200 pages in with your notice of claim. If you're not willing to pay for it, they say 5 pages. I want to do 20. Are they going to say, nope, our system can't take the 20 pages? Because that's basically what happened last time. Right? They couldn't take the number of pages that I was submitting. And because of that, I had to pay. Right? And then when I did go to get a waiver of fees to go in front of an appeal board, it turned into kangaroo court, where the judge turned it into a mini trial and then sent me to the cops, when he should have been the one calling the investigation, not me. Right? And now I'm here again, starting all over again, and my gut tells me take it back to 1999. Well, sorry, 1998. Take it back to 1998. And listed under the targeting of my family people through the various ministries within the government, aka public union sector. Right? With Shamay basically being the last victim to that problem. Right? Because otherwise I wouldn't be here. If I felt that Shamay had gotten real justice, I wouldn't be here, people. So, I want to show you this. Not like I'm not prepared. Now, mind you, they're probably a little outdated, but all in all, when, through legislation, one or two things may have been retracted or added, so it's not something that I can't look online and cross-reference and, if need be, print out a new one to keep it up to date, right? But this is what I mean. This is where it starts to get, what is it called? Expensive, because for me to do everything online is hard for my eyes. So this one is the police mandate. Now it's dark in here, okay? Under normal conditions, I'd be bringing over this little light, and I'd be having it right here beside me because it's very dark in this corner, which is very hard for my eyes. Here it is, the Controlled Drug and Substance Act. Energy weapon definition. No. Energy weapons and defining organized crime. And then I've got the police mandate. That's what I've got in here in terms of information. Right? And I don't know, people. I don't see the cops taking any responsibility for what they did. Actual patents of mind control and behavior modification technology. Well, they definitely modified Shamay's behavior now, didn't they? Right? For as hard as she tried to get good grades and to follow through with the post-secondary education, if you notice, she just didn't get there, people. Vancouver Police and BC Police Complaint Commissioners deliberately misinterpret the law. Okay, so if that is the case, why the hell would you want to send a complaint to those people if they're just going to misinterpret it, and then just toss it off to the side? You don't. That's why you take it to court and you call in the Attorney General and make the Attorney General do his job in terms of following up on whatever it is that I write in those 20 pages, people. And then it's just general information here. Where am I? Royal Canadian Mounted Police Act. Do you see? Must be federal. I can't even see it. Yeah. That's a lot of reading. Did you see? This is stuff that I was going through with Andre and Uncle John. Negligence Act. 333. Chapter 333. Appointment of liability for damages. Controlled Drug and Substance Act. This is one I'd want to read. I don't know what I'm looking for in it, but when it comes to fentanyl, what other act would you go to? Right? It's quite thick. There's just a lot of more listings. Burden of proving exception. No, evidence. Evidence inadmissible under this section. Nothing in subsection 1 renders admissible in evidence in any legal proceeding such part of any record or as in proved to be a record made in the course of an investigation or inquiry. I'm looking at the Evidence Act, obviously what I'm reading right now, probably maybe even touch on that federal one, right? Most definitely the Criminal Code of Canada. I'm looking for the police mandate. I don't see it. The silent weapons, defining organized crime in Canada, meeting our obligations under the Convention Against Transitional Organized Crime and its protocols against trafficking of persons and smuggling of migrants. Why I printed that out, I don't know. But I did. Well, they were smuggling Uncle John. That's what they were doing, people. They were trafficking him and smuggling him. They were trafficking Shamay's body and they were smuggling her body. Okay? Doesn't have to apply just to immigrants. Well, maybe I took it out, put it someplace else, because I don't see it in here. Oh, wait, what's this? Anyway, I don't see it in here. I may have taken it out for some other reason. It's not that I can't find it because I can. Right? Because I don't see it in here. I'm just going through it one more time. Anyway, so we're looking at stuff in this book. More than one. We're looking at the Hospital Act. We're looking at the Medicare Act. We're looking at the Evidence Act. We're looking at the Coroner's Act. Come on. We're looking at Organ Tissue Donation Act. We're looking at the Ministry of, back in the day, I don't know what the hell it was called, but the Financial Department of Social Services. in 2003 when they cut me off illegally off of a social assistance with 5 dependent kids in the middle of fucking winter. With legislation that hadn't even come in for the first, it was like they cut me off and then they brought in the legislation. They cut me off, but the legislation wasn't to come into effect until 9 months after they cut me off. So 9 months after, that's when the legislation came in, and then a big uproar, and they rescinded on the legislation, when in fact that legislation, it didn't even apply to me, people. At best, what they should have done or could have done was just penalize me $100 a month off of my social assistance for not going to work versus just cutting me off because I couldn't. Right? That was in 2003. And it altered the pattern of the family in terms of where we ended up, how we had to live, what we went through, and then to have it again happen basically around Andre, and then to have it happen again basically around Uncle John, and then having it happen again around basically Amari, and then having it again happen around Shamay, which brings me here. Right? So I have to make room, and that's what I'm doing. When I should be cooking for my grandkids, people. You know, making bread with Andre, or making Play-Doh for Alea May, or cooking for Amari. You know what I mean? Or maybe sewing or something. I really shouldn't be sitting in here, but I am, people. So, I'm getting close to sitting in front of this thing and start typing. And just to give you an example of the things that I'm going to be typing, and this regards specifically to the police, okay? They provoked misinformation. This is the RCMP. They provoked misinformation, rumors, false allegations, namely against Shamay, and misrepresentation. They covered up Shamay's murder, allowed that scoundrel to tamper with evidence, they did not collect evidence, they left evidence behind, they allowed evidence to be inadvertently get destroyed, lost, or tampered with. They ignored the motive as to why Shamay was murdered, which in part is because of control, revenge, thought he'd get the baby the next day. They ignored the fact that he removed the TV and the PlayStation the next day, after that PlayStation and TV sat in Shamay's room for over a year, and other things they ignored. They ignored the other person's ID that was in the house that had no connection to Shamay. Not to mention the flip drug phone. They ignored that. And then going on to another subject will be the misconduct of the court. Right? Do you see where this is going?